Hey yogis, welcome to Limitless Yoga Studio Online. My name is Kelsey Wright. I'm going to be leading you through a 45-minute flow for the hamstrings and the hips, working towards an option of flying lizard, which is an arm balance at the end of class. You're going to need 2 blocks and then also either a tennis ball or my faster release ball. We're going to do a little work on the hips at the very end to cool down. So when you're ready, we're going to come on down, start in Supta Baddha Konasana. I'm going to have my blocks available just in case I need them. Have my feet to touch, knees out into this wide diamond shape, and then if the hips are a bit grumpy, you're welcome to use those blocks underneath the thigh bones as a bit of support or like kickstands. So we want to find this kind of Goldilocks position of a little bit of a stretch on the inner thighs, but not so much that it's distracting you from concentrating on that breath. So with the right hand on the belly, left hand on the chest, close down the eyes, and then use this time to really dial your awareness up to 10. We very much want to hone in that awareness, turn it inwards, and just see what's going on in the body. This might be the first time that you've actually paid attention to the body today, maybe the first time you've had time to actually see what's going on. So take a moment here and relax the muscles of the face, dropping the jaw, dropping the tongue, and dropping the shoulders. Begin to notice if the back of the neck needs to be any longer, if any of the muscles of the back can soften more. So rather than holding yourself in place, you're just kind of surrendering to gravity here. And then notice the sensations you might be feeling in the inner hips, right where the inseams of the pants are. Just kind of noticing what kind of stretch or if the right feels different from the left. And then notice your breath. Can you inhale to fill up the belly, the ribs, and the chest? And exhale with control. Next inhale should be a little bit bigger than the first since we're stretching out our lungs and we're bringing more of a capacity to that torso area. So take your time building that breath that's going to get us through class. Each inhale getting a little bit bigger, stretching out the belly, the ribs, the chest. Each exhale in more control, squeezing out all the old air. We have just a couple more cycles of breath here. We're allowing those thigh bones to get heavier. Maybe you're choosing to flow each exhale down to that hip crease area, just bringing again more awareness to the space that we'll be focusing on throughout the rest of class. And whenever you feel like you've built that complete inhale, that max capacity inhale, you might choose to count your next inhale, seeing how long it takes you to get there, and then comparing that number to your exhale to see if you can't even out that cadence of breath. Let's take 2 more big cycles. You might choose to inhale a little bit of energy if you need it for class. And absolutely exhale distractions from your day, just setting them aside. We want to take this time, connect the brain and the body, unplugging from everything else. After this very last cycle of breath, go ahead and flutter open the eyes. You're going to scoot the knees in close to one another, get rid of any blocks that you're using, and then wiggle the feet about mat distance apart, maybe a little wider. I'm going to drop both knees over to the right like a set of heavy windshield wipers. Hang out, take a big breath. And then on the exhale, firm up the muscles of the core, bring the knees up, over, and across. Now compare the right with the left. We're going to do one more set here. On the exhale, bring the knees up, over, and across with support from the belly. Hang heavy, take notice of what the hips feel like as you roll the thigh bones around in the sockets, and then finally up, over, and across, last set. Okay, on your exhale, bring the knees back to center, and you might scooch the heels a little closer together. I'm going to bring the right knee in. Okay, my right hand is going to grab the ankle or the pinky toe side of the foot for that half happy baby, drawing the thigh bone kind of snugly down next to the rib cage. Be aware that that low back is probably going to want to tilt to the right, so keep it nice and symmetrical. And then if you'd like a little bit more, you can always sneak that left foot out a little further, maybe eventually a straight leg. Take a big breath here. Then on the exhale, release that right footprint to the floor, bring the left knee in. Hand on the ankle or the pinky toe side of the foot, draw that thigh bone down. Let's keep the back of the neck long, keep the jaw relaxed. And then if you'd like, you can sneak that right foot out. Just stop when your body tells you that this is a good stretch and not a strain. Give me a breath here. And then we'll release the left footprint to the floor. Bring the right leg all the way back up again. This time, bend the knee and extend a few times, working through the back line of the leg, hamstring and calf, getting everything warmed up. And then when you're ready, we'll hold that straight leg. Press to the heel so it would be the first thing to touch the ceiling. Maybe work the toes a little closer to the back of your mat, maybe even reaching the hands a little closer to the calf if that's comfortable, keeping the head, neck, and shoulders relaxed. We've got a big breath here. And then if you'd like a little more, maybe that left foot sneaks out a little bit, eventually maybe straight on the mat, take a breath. On your exhale, right foot print to the floor, left leg comes up. We're going to start with those kicks, so keeping things dynamic, warming up from the sitting bone to the heel bone. And then when you're ready, we'll pause, hang out, hold on, keep the head, neck, and shoulders grounded and relaxed, maybe choosing to get a little bit further up the leg, and then just noticing what side feels different. I know my left side always feels a little tighter than my right, and then you can choose to take that right leg out a little bit, even to the point of straightness. Take a big breath here. All right, left foot print to the floor. We're going to bring that right knee in, half happy baby, so ankle or maybe pinky toe side of the foot. Bring the left leg in, full happy baby. I'm going to draw the thigh bones down, keep the tailbone pressing towards the mat, keep the back of the neck long. We've got a big inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going into what I call ninja kicks. So we're going to straighten out that right leg. You might need to slide the hand down the shin to accommodate that and then bring it back and switch it out. So some of us might be able to hang on to the ankles or to the feet as we straighten the legs. Others are going to want to take that slide so that you can create the straight leg and then just accommodate with the hand. We got one more right, one more left. And then keep that happy baby shape. Take a big inhale. On your exhale, reach up and press towards that wall in front of you for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and last one. Come up, find that happy baby, take an inhale. On your exhale, I'm going to stretch out that left leg. It could be footprint to the floor, or if you're comfortable, straight leg. Now I want you to squeeze the right side of the core to keep the leg in this shape. Place your hands on the ceiling. Can you push the ceiling away, doming the upper back before placing the shoulder blades back down on the mat? Lift the shoulder blades, lower the shoulder blades, keeping the head on the mat the whole time, and just kind of these shrugs here. That's going to be important for our flying lizard. Okay, from here, adding on, you're going to push to lift the shoulder blades up off the mat. Now reach up and take that same crunch that we did just a second ago, bring it back down, relax the shoulders. Push the ceiling away, and then bring it all the way up. We got 2 more. This is going to kind of help mimic that flying lizard pose. We're in a bit of an upside down version of it right now. Okay, bring it back down and pause. Hold on to the right, gather up the left. Right should definitely feel different here. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, either right footprint to the floor, or if you'd like, you can scooch it on out and find your version of that half happy baby. Okay, squeezing the left side to keep the leg in this position. You're going to reach for the front of the room for 3, 2, and 1, then add on the shoulders. So press away and lift. Bring it back down. Press away and lift. Okay, keep that left thigh bone working down towards the ribs. We got 2 more. Last one, shrug and lift. All right, last full happy baby. Hopefully this one feels quite a bit different from the very first one we took. Take a big breath. And then exhale, release the feet. Hold on to those knees as you rock and roll up and down the spine a few times. And as you pop up to a seated position, we're going to land with the feet together and the knees out wide. Scooching the heels in to find a little bit of a stretch, but nothing too crazy. And then open up the feet like a book, dropping the thigh bones down heavily. I'm going to relax the chin to the chest and roll out the neck. We want to take at least 1 big circle in each direction, but you're welcome to take more. Slowly roll through every degree. Sometimes the brain will tell us to skip areas that are a little tight or that we know have tension there. So just be careful, roll through all of it, and then sit up nice and tall. Place the hands on the wall in front of you. You're going to dome the back and then suck those shoulder blades right back down into place. Push and then bring it back. So a couple more of these. We pushed the ceiling away. Now we're pushing that wall away, and we're getting ready to roll over and push the floor away. Okay, sweep your feet back behind you, however you need to get there. I'm going to meet you in tabletop position with the shoulders stacked on top of the wrists and the hips stacked on top of the knees. I'm going to spread my fingers out, so I'm thinking gloves rather than mittens on the hands, and then look between the thumbs. All right, pushing that floor away. You're going to exhale, push into the palms, dome the back, create space between the shoulder blades, arch the spine. Bring it back down to neutral, or if you want to take it a little below neutral, feel free. Exhale, push, arch, feel that big stretch between the shoulder blades. Now, as you take a few more of these, I want you to take your awareness to the side bodies. As you lift up to that very tippy top of the arch, can you feel the side body start to squeeze, engage, heat up, maybe feel that contraction of the muscle. Okay, we got 2 more. And then on this last one, I want you to hold at the tippy top and see if you can't get just maybe 1% more as you squeeze and feel the side bodies. Okay, bring it back down to relax. Right footprint up on the ceiling. Give me a couple big thigh bone circles to make sure everything's rolling around in the socket, okay? And then from here, we're going to step the right foot to the right pinky finger. We're going to move forward and back, slowly starting to move through the inner hip as we come forward and the back line of the leg as we come back. So we're going to take 2 more of these. And then after this last one, we'll pause with that bent knee. Right hand comes up. Look at your mat as you kick that right heel back. Now choose to stay here, or I'm going to take knee to elbow tap, squeezing the right side body as if I want those ribs to get closer together. And again, heating up that muscle group that's going to be important for flying lizard. After this last one, I'm going to take the right hand down, right footprint to right pinky finger. All right, I can do the exact same lunge forward and back as I did before, or if I'd like a little bit more, I'm going to lift the knee as I lunge forward, which tends to make it more intense. So if you choose to try it and then you're like, oh, never mind, abort, not okay, then keep the knee down through both positions. Okay, last one. Everybody with that knee down, we're going to take that right hand up and kick that right foot back. Little bit different. I want you to push the foot to the floor. We're going to pivot, so we're rotating on that heel, toes point out away from us. I can drop the forearm to the thigh bone or the fingers to the floor. What's important here is that I get heavy in the hips. As I drop, I'm going to feel that big stretch on the right inner thigh, kind of the inseam of my pants area. Take a big breath. And then exhale, I'm going to cartwheel the hands all the way down. I'm going to firm up the shoulders, meaning the thumbs magnetize towards one another. Once I feel the shoulders snug in their sockets, I'll step back into plank with an option of holding or maybe rocking tiptoes and heels. We'll need to be able to rock to our tiptoes for that flying lizard pose. So see if you can really reach to your 100%. Last one here. And then go ahead and drop to hands and knees for the second side. Left footprint up on the ceiling. Give me a couple big thigh bone circles here. Rolling around, making sure everything feels good. And then left footprint to left pinky finger. As you move forward and back, take time to recognize if this side feels a little tighter, or maybe this side is going to give you a little bit more. That's just good information for the brain to have. After this last one, we're going to finish with a bent knee pause. Left hand comes up, but the gaze stays down. Solidify that right shoulder in the socket, kick your foot back, choose to stay, or knee to elbow tap, squeezing that left side body. Imagining those ribs getting closer together, those muscles firming up. One more. All right, hands down, left foot to the left pinky finger. This time, maybe you're going to choose to lift the back knee. But again, if this side maybe doesn't feel as cooperative today, then keep the knee down for both poses. All right, we're going to take 2 more rounds. And then we will finish with that bent knee in the front and the back knee down. Left hand up, take care of that right shoulder before you kick it back and push the foot to the floor. Pivoting, so turn the toes out away from the body, land with either forearm or fingertips. Okay, I'm going to reach to that right side body and then drop the hips low, feeling it right there on that left groin area. Take a big breath here. And then as I cartwheel the hands back to that plank positioning, shoulders on top of wrists, hugging everything in, step back into plank. All right, choose to stay right here. I'm going to draw a few circles with my shoulders, my wrists, and my heart. 2 or 3 in one direction, 2 or 3 in the other. And then from here, I'm going to press back into down dog. I'm going to check that that plank positioning and that down dog positioning of the feet and hands are about the same. We're going to put a little extra emphasis through the thumb and first finger so we don't have that gap underneath the webbing, which is sometimes easy to do in down dog. Take one more big breath, firing through the heels, getting the sitting bones pushed back. And then as you look forward, we'll step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, rise up, reach for the sky. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Well, we got some sun A's. Here we go. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, fingertips to shins. On your exhale, your right foot's going to step back. Pause for a moment so that you can drop down into that right hip flexor. Keep pressing through the right heel. If you want to keep it dynamic, you can. We're going to be here for 3. We're going to be here for 2. And last 1. Right hand plants, left hand sweeps up. Okay, I'm going to slowly start to straighten out the left leg and then immediately drop the right hip. So we got 2 of these back and forth. 1 more back and forth. All right, everybody's going to drop the right knee, sweep that left foot back, take a big inhale. On your exhale, plant that sole of the foot, hug that right shoulder head in and down, and then maybe you push so hard that that right knee gets lighter or even lifts for side plank. Okay, with the right knee down and the left knee down, rock forward, lower to the belly, elbows in. I'm going to glue the toenails to the mat. I'm going to draw the belly button up off the mat, and then I'm going to take 3 cobras here, broadening the chest towards the front of the room, rolling the shoulder heads back in their sockets, and then keeping the wrinkles out of the back of the neck. Last one. Curling the toes. Feel free to use your knees if you need to come up into plank and to press back into down dog. All right, we want to kind of stay buoyant in the shoulders here. We don't want them locked down our back, and we also don't want them locked up in our ears. So find that 50-50. Then take a big exhale to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, get tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more sun eye. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, press that air down and dive. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, left foot steps back and pause. Dropping down in that hip flexor right there where the quad meets the core. Again, dynamic is great, or you can hold it static. We're going to be here for one more big cycle of breath. And then I'm going to plant the left hand, solidify that left shoulder as the right hand comes up. I'm going to slowly work towards a straight-ish leg. Everyone's going to be different here. The idea is that we find something on the back of the leg and then something on the front of the left hip. One more here. And then drop that back knee. Right foot's going to sweep back. Then you're going to press your footprint into the floor, hugging the left shoulder head in and down, lifting the ribs, pushing. Maybe eventually that left knee gets light for 3, 2, and 1. Left knee down, right knee down. Rock forward, lower to the belly. All right, I'm going to glue the toenails to the floor. This time I'm going to take the fingertips out wide just so that I don't utilize the arms too much. I really want this to come from my upper back. So as I roll the shoulder heads back, I'm going to peel myself up off the floor. And then slowly lower back down. I'm going to be careful that I don't over squeeze the glutes, which is pretty common here. We want to lift up with the glutes, but by doing that, it might compress the tailbone and feel a little crummy in the low back area. Once you're done with your 3, bring the hands back, find your plank, press back into down dog. Remember to stay buoyant in the shoulders. Take a big inhale, and then exhale your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins, and exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, getting ready for our sun bees. I'm going to scoop up these blocks, take them to the top of the mat just in case I need them for something. And then, of course, the beauty of online classes is you can hit that pause button, you can get what you need, grab a drink, change your playlist, whatever you'd like. And as we get into sun bees, if you're familiar with a vinyasa, feel free to take that. You're welcome to do so. I'm going to work my way through modifications of it, so you can always stick with me if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Moving in more to the hips and hamstrings. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead, shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, have a seat deeply down into your chair, wiggling the toes to make sure the heels are heavy. With hands to heart center, take an inhale. Exhale, right foot steps out, malasana. Heels in, toes out, bring it down for that froggy squat. Bring it right back up for chair pose, 10 toes pointing forward. Then take the left foot out, heels in, toes out, drop it low. Bring it on back, find that chair pose one more time for the inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Use the blocks if you'd like. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, vinyasa. So with this first one, I'm just going to step back into down dog. And every time you hear the word vinyasa, you can absolutely do that. All right, when you're ready, inhale, right toes up with the toes pointed down, and then exhale, step the foot all the way to the top of the mat. You're going to spin the back heel down. You're going to rise up and find your warrior 2. Watson has joined the party. All right, you're going to check 5 toes are pointing forward, knee goes through right to the middle of your foot. Okay, we're going to inhale, rise up, and we're going to exhale, push the air down, getting a little bit more of a stretch on the inner right hip. Inhale up, and exhale, press it down. Good, we're going to take one more. Inhale up, and exhale down to pause. Now freeze your foundation, take an inhale. Exhale, drop either the right forearm or the right fingertips to find your side angle. Keep your right hip hugged up underneath you. We're going to flow between this and warrior 2. So it'll be inhale, find your warrior 2. Exhale, bring it down low, maybe for an extra stretch in the hips. Inhale, rise up tall, long spine. Exhale, bring it down, forearm or fingertips. One more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring it down. Hands are going to go to the floor. Walk to the middle of your mat. With your heels in and your toes out, you're going to inhale, rise up right through goddess, straight arms, straight legs, and then bring it down, sweep off your mat as you take that deep squat. So similar to chair pose, we want to push the sitting bones back. We want to drive through the heels here so that we don't have a lot of weight going forward through the knees. It's just not going to feel comfortable. Okay, we got one more. Big inhale up. Big exhale down. Once the hands are on the mat, we're going to walk forward into lizard. So we want to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle that right foot out of the way. Hands in plank position. Now the tendency in this pose is as you drop the hips, you also sag in the shoulders. All right, and that's not going to be great for our shoulder foundation. So I'm going to press and actually dome the upper back as I lower the hips. Okay. If you're familiar with lizard and you know that you want to go a little further, you can always bring in a block to come down to the forearms or even forearms to the floor. But if you do choose that, recognize that still we kind of want to sag. So keep that active shoulder engagement so that you're prepared for that flying lizard at the end of class. Take a big breath And then no matter what you chose, we're gonna go back to that plank positioning so that we can sweep the right foot up into the sky and place it right back down, ready for the second side. Inhale, left toes up. Exhale, kick it all the way through, right between the hands. Spin the back heel down. Anchor into your heels as you rise up and stack the shoulders on top of the hips. So once I check on that front foot, I want to also check that back heel is maybe just a little further back than the toes so we have that nice safe spin of the knee. Big inhale through the fingertips. Big exhale, settle into your pose. We're going to move. Inhale up and exhale down, each time actively searching for that stretch on that left inner thigh. Inhale up, exhale, press it down. Good. Inhale up, exhale down. We got one more. Inhale up, and then exhale, pause in your very best warrior two. From here, we're transitioning to side angle. Drop the left forearm or the left fingertips if you'd like. Beware that this left hip wants to sass out to the side, so really scoop it up underneath you for stability. We're going to flow between the poses. We'll inhale, warrior two, and then exhale, come down, forearm or fingertips, your choice. Inhale, rise up, lengthen the spine through the crown of the head. Exhale, bring it down and feel that inner hip on the left. Inhale up and exhale down. We got one more. Inhale up, pressing through the heels. Exhale, hands will cartwheel to the floor. We're going to walk to the middle of the mat. And this time, we're only going to turn one set of toes. So my right toes are turned out like goddess, but my left toes are normal. As I come into this side lunge, I still want to keep the weight through the heels and through the sitting bones. And then if I do notice that maybe my knee goes way over my toes, that might mean that you have the ability to wiggle the foot further out and get yourself possibly a deeper stretch. Take a big breath here. And then exhale, hands to the center. Right toes are going to go normal. Left toes are going to turn out. We're going to walk on over and find that same side lunge, checking out where the knee is versus the ankle, checking out where the weight is through the heels and the sitting bones. One more big breath in that side lunge. And then exhale, walk your way into lizard. So we're going to wiggle that left foot out of the way, find plank positioning with that upper body, and then resisting the urge to sink into the shoulders, kind of letting gravity take over. We're only going to sink down through the hips, maybe choosing a block under the forearms or even forearms to the floor. Whatever you choose, use the support of your shoulders. And let's double check that we have kind of a similar warrior two foot here where 5 toes are pointing forward, knee over the ankle through the middle of the foot. Sometimes it's easy to kind of sag out, and then we're putting just a little more stress on one side of the knee than the other. One more big breath in your version of lizard. And then we'll all meet back in that plank positioning of the arms. Left foot's going to sweep up and then bring it down and find your down dog, remembering to stay buoyant through the shoulders and pressure through the thumb and index. Take an inhale to look at your hands. Exhale, bend the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Adding on to our chair series. Have a seat down in your chair. Step the right foot out for Malasana. As you come out of Malasana, bring the right knee up with you, keeping it wide before swinging it forward back into chair. Left foot steps out. Find your Malasana. Bring that left knee up with you to hang out before bringing it forward and chair. Forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale your vinyasa, which of course could be down dog. Or I'm going to drop the knees this time to modify by broadening the chest, tapping the ribs to the elbows, kind of that cobra chest, keeping the belly firm. Once you're in down dog, everybody, inhale, right toes up in the sky. Exhale, kick that foot through. Spin your back heel down, rise up, find that same warrior two that you did at the very end of the last sequence. So you're down in the hips, checking out the front knee, checking out the back heel. Nice tall spine. One more inhale. Exhale, find your side angle, so forearm or fingertips. And we're going to add on a little step up here into our flow. So looking down at your right foot, squeeze this outer right hip in, float forward, tap your left foot to your right heel. If that's too big of a step, you can always step halfway in. Okay, so we're going to add that to the flow. It'll be inhale, warrior two, exhale, side angle, inhale, prep, exhale, tap. Inhale, warrior two, exhale, side angle, inhale, prep, exhale, move. One more like this, ready for half moon. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale, prep, exhale, step, right hand to the block, press to the heels as you find your half moon. So use that right outer hip for stability, squeezing up underneath you. Feel that openness of the hips, almost like they're stacked up. Broaden the chest, take an inhale, and then exhale, hands down, toes down, walk to the middle of your mat. We're going to solidify that left shoulder by anchoring down to that left hand. My left foot is going to sweep through the gap between my hand and my foot so I land on my booty. All right, I've got archer's pose. I'm going to take my left bunny ears, hook onto my left big toe, and then I might want a little kickstand here. Depends on what you're feeling. So as I take my bow and arrow back and forth, Keep that chest open and broad, resisting the urge to round the back. Know that the higher the heel, usually the more intense the hamstring stretches. And then we are trying to get that knee right back to the back of our mat. We got 2 more like this. All right, we're transitioning into rocking horses. Place this left foot down. I'm going to glue my left elbow to my left knee, and this connection is going to stay like this the whole time. My right arm and my right leg are nice and long. I'm going to do my best not to let my shoulder blades touch the floor. Big inhale up the spine. Exhale as I slowly roll back, finding that crunch of the core. As I come back, try not to let your shoulder blades touch the floor as you rock back. So, called rocking horses for a reason. You're going to go back and forth, doing your best to use your momentum as your level of challenge, using your abs as your brakes before your right heel comes down or before your shoulder blades come down. Okay, we got 2 more. You can always wrap the arm around that thigh bone if you need a little bit less, and then come on up and pause. We'll plant both feet, plant that left hand. Solidify that left shoulder before you lift your tush, and sweep the left foot through, right back where we started. Walk forward, and I'll see you in lizard. Right foot's got to wiggle, 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 wiggle. Find that plank positioning. So, resisting the urge to drop into the shoulders, let's drop the hips and maybe find a deeper variation, if that feels comfortable for you, of your lizard. Now, if you're down on your forearms with the support of your shoulders, the next step would be to move the right shoulder underneath the right thigh bone. I like to drop my back knee for this because then it gives me a little bit more stability to start to wiggle the right shoulder underneath. Okay? Now, at no point are you trying to do this at the expense of anything else. If that shoulder starts to think about wiggling up underneath there, great. If not, no worries. You can always lift that back knee up if needed once you're there. To come out of this, I would definitely drop the back knee so you have the time to come out, find your plank positioning, and then right foot up in the sky. Second side, inhale, left toes up. Exhale, kick it on through. Spin your back heel down for our last set of warrior 2s here. Let's make sure that our tailbone is lengthening and our hip points are moving to the ribs, so that firm core is going to stabilize everything here as we move. Take an inhale. Exhale, side angle, dropping the forearm or the fingertips. We're going to tap, so look forward. Make sure you prep that left outer hip. We're going to take the right foot in maybe halfway or maybe all the way. Okay? We're going to add that to the flow. Here we go. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, look to prep. Exhale, tap to move. Inhale, up to warrior 2. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, prep. Exhale, move. Good. One more. Inhale, up. Visualizing that half moon, that's where we're headed. After you take your tap, you're going to push that heel like a karate kick into the back of the mat. Let's try to keep 5 toes relatively pointed forward. Sometimes it's easy to twist the ankle or the knee, and we just want to keep those joints safe. Take one more big breath, lifting the head up against gravity, and then hands down, toes down, walk to the middle of your mat. Anchoring down to that right shoulder and right hand, we're going to slip that right foot right through the gap and drop to the tush. This time, right bunny ears to right big toe, archer's pose. Kickstand if needed. Bring it back and forth, keeping that broad chest, that long spine, keeping the breath, drawing that kneecap towards the back wall and the heel towards the front wall, finding your range of motion. Let's do one more. All right, with the footprint on the floor, we got rocking horses. Glue your right elbow to your right knee and extend out through the left side. Inhale up the spine. Exhale, do your best to keep that crunched, rounded cannonball position. Maybe the shoulder blades never touch the mat. Maybe you start to really use that momentum to challenge yourself, squeezing the right obliques hard in order to keep the knee attached to the elbow, knowing that you can always scoop that thigh bone up if needed. We got 2 more. Here we go, last one. And then bring it up and pause. Whew. So we are on the floor. If you need to grab a drink or wipe your face, situate your blocks, whatever you need, you can always hit the pause button. We're going to get right back up. We've got one more flow, and then we will come into our peak pose of flying lizard, or an option of it, and then do a little myofascial release to cool things down. One of my favorites. All right, so take as long as you need. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to place my right hand down, feet on the floor, lift up my buns, and sweep my right foot through. Walking forward into lizard. I'm going to wiggle that left foot out of the way. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then resisting the urge to dump into the shoulders, I'm just going to take the hips down and find my version of the pose. Be aware that the sides, of course, are going to be different. So you're going to look different on either side. We are rather looking for the same intensity of stretch as opposed to the exact mirror image on both sides. If you need to drop the back knee and start to wiggle that left shoulder underneath the thigh bone, you're welcome to try that. You can keep the knee down the whole time, or maybe eventually it lifts back up as you press to the heel. So just take your time finding your version of lizard. Still keeping that breath. And then again, I like to drop the knee so I've got plenty of stability to come out of this pose. Securing plank positioning in the shoulders, I'm going to lift the back knee, sweep the foot back, and then find my down dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, one last sun B or flow to prepare the hips. And then we'll hit that peak pose, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, adding onto that chair sequence, have a seat. Take your right foot out, find your malasana, sinking down into the heels and the sitting bones. Bring the right knee up with you, pause, scoop that foot in for chair pose, so for tree pose. So maybe the footprint goes on the calf, maybe the footprint goes to the inner thigh. And then as you build your tree, it's going to be emphasis to the left big toe, there's your anchor. Emphasis through the right heel, that's maybe different than what you're used to, right heel, and then squeeze that outer left hip in exactly like we did with those step ups from side angle. Reach your tree nice and tall. You want to kind of squeeze the core up like a tube of toothpaste being squeezed up into the ceiling. One more big breath. And then exhale, bring that right knee forward, sit down into your chair. Left foot steps out, heavy through the heels in your malasana. Bring it up, float that left knee. We're going to plug it straight in, either above the knee or below the knee, up to you. Then build your tree from the roots up. Press to the right big toe. It's going to help stabilize the ankle. Press to the left heel, which will help stabilize that bent knee. And then scoop that right hip up underneath you, which will stabilize the whole trunk of your tree so that you can then rise up and utilize the core to finish off the whole thing. Take a big inhale right up through the crown of the head. And then on your exhale, bring the knee forward, sit down into your last chair. Take an inhale to stay and an exhale to fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, your vinyasa. This time, I'm going to do the full thing for you. So from plank, I'm going to rock the tiptoes, broaden the chest, elbows to ribs, flip the toes up dog, long neck, flip the toes down dog, buoyant in the shoulders. Big breath here. All right, here we go. Inhale, right toes up into the sky. Exhale, kick your foot all the way through and pause. We're going to punch through the heels. You're going to slowly start to rise up and find your crescent pose. Now I'm wrapping the core into the spine to protect that low back area. Take an inhale and then exhale, hands to the back of the head. Putting your focus on these six-pack muscles, the front line of the body. I want you to squeeze those muscles to create a bit of a crunch, elbows to knee. It's going to be a little bit easier to focus on the back and rounding, so do the opposite. Focus on squeezing the front line of the body, which is going to help us in that flying lizard. One more squeeze to crunch. And then bring it back to center. Big inhale. Exhale, warrior three. Bend, push, lift that back leg. Kick through your back heel. Try to find that straight-ish line from head to hips to heel. Take an inhale. Exhale, scoop that left knee up into the chest. We're going to take 3 more crunches from that standing position. So can you use the front line of the body, contract and squeeze those muscles to find the elbows working towards the knee. We got one more big crunch here. And then pause. I'm going to take the knee out to the side, left bunny ears if you'd like to left big toe. So feel free just to stay in that knee out position. And then I can stay here, draw the knee up towards the armpit in that happy baby positioning. Or if I want to extend a little bit more, it'll get a little more intense as I continue to lengthen. Take a big breath up the spine. And then on your exhale, we'll slowly bring it back with control, knee forward, and then we'll step that foot all the way back into that lunge. All right, option 1, down dog, great option. I'll see you there. Or option 2 is going to be side plank with that same bunny ears to big toe positioning. So left shoulder is going to snuggle in. I'm going to grab my big toe, draw the right knee to the right armpit, same kind of half happy baby positioning. Okay, I'll see you in down dog. Lengthen it out. Let's do that second side. Inhale, left toes up, big inhale. Exhale, kick it on through. Now push through your heels. Firm up the belly as you rise up, tall through the spine, shoulder blades down the back. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands to the back of the head. Putting your energy, your attention, and your awareness on those six-pack muscles. Can you squeeze them in, rounding the back? So rounding the back should happen because of the contraction of these front muscles, which is just going to help us a little bit more towards that peak pose. We got one more. All right, warrior three, look at your blocks. Ready? Bend, push, lift the back leg. Squeeze that outer left hip underneath you for stability. Punch through that back heel for that energized lengthening for the breath. And then exhale, right knee into the chest. All right, 3 more crunches. Take your time. It helps to stare at one spot. I'm staring at something on the floorboards here. And then you're really honing my awareness on that core area. All right, pause here. Take the right knee out away from the body. Choose to stay, or my right bunny ears are going to scoop up that big toe. Draw the right knee towards the armpit, or maybe slowly start to extend through the heel. Recognizing that your sides probably aren't going to look the same or feel the same, and that is just fine by me. Nice and tall through the crown of the head, left hip supporting the whole thing. Take a breath, and then exhale. Gently let that go, and bring the knee forward. Step it all the way back. Find that low lunge. Down dog's a great option. I'll see you there. Or one more time, left bunny ears, scoop up that left big toe. I'm going to snuggle that kneecap into the armpit as I push into the mat, arching the ribs, and find that half happy baby position. I'll see you in down dog. Lengthen the whole thing out. And then we'll land with the knees about mat distance apart, big toes to touch, lower down, child's pose. We're going to snuggle the rib cage right between the thigh bones, letting the forehead rest against the mat. Take this time to make sure the breath is still long and controlled. Maybe you can feel the rib cage expanding against the thigh bones. Give me just a couple more cycles of breath. And you can stay here as long as you need, or you're going to slowly roll on up, find yourself on hands and knees, and then we're going to talk about flying lizard. So I'm going to scoop up these blocks because there's a really great way to use them to help yourself in this pose. All right, so you've done most of the pieces and parts. We're just putting all of the puzzle pieces together now. So your brain knows the pieces. We're just going to put them into a sequence, okay? So the great thing about flying lizard is the very first step is to come into lizard. We've done that a bunch. So if you want, come into lizard, hold, breathe, and then just get those benefits of a long held stretch, which research shows, 30 seconds to a minute is what's really going to help benefit that long-term flexibility that we're looking for. So absolutely come into lizard, pause, breathe, and then meet us for the second side, right? So I'm going to walk you through it here. Feel free to watch first. I always want my students to watch. It gives your brain about a 25% head start before it chooses to do something. All right, just as we've done a million times, we're going to take our right foot to our right pinky finger. Now, in order to get into the next stage for flying lizard, my right shoulder does need to come up underneath my right thigh bone. So if during class you're like, there is no way that's ever going to happen, something that might help are what I call platform shoes. You're going to stack your blocks, create a big old platform shoe that's going to give you that 6 inches of extra space, maybe even utilizing tiptoes, which might give you some more to put that shoulder underneath there. So feel free if you'd like to use that. That is an option to help that shoulder go underneath the thigh bone. Okay, so blocks or no blocks, up to you. I'm going to take that right shoulder and I'm going to scoop it up underneath my thigh bone. You might notice that this back knee is down. It's really helpful for stability. So once I snuggle, the next really important thing is to check that your hands are in an actual plank positioning. It is so very tempting to maybe not get the shoulder under as far, but to sneak our hand further, and then we have this positioning. So if I were to take this leg away real quick, look how my shoulder looks. That's not anywhere close to that stable plank positioning that we want. So once you have the shoulder underneath the thigh bone, really make sure that your shoulders are supported in that plank position. Once I for sure have it, I'll curl the toes, lift the back knee. All right, so right now my elbows are bent and my foot is incredibly heavy. I want to do the opposite. I want to push into my palms, straighten out my arms, and arch the back like we've been practicing. And the more I arch it, the more this foot lifts up off the floor. So once I've got that, I can take the heel and just snuggle it up underneath me, get it out of the way. Now I can bend my elbows coming into that chaturanga position, creating a little teeter-totter that maybe might result in my back leg lifting. Okay? I didn't actually forcibly lift my back leg. It just naturally started to tilt up as I came forward. So put your emphasis on strongly holding your chaturanga and millimeter by millimeter moving forward, as opposed to putting any energy or thought into that back leg, because it's going to lift on its own when it's ready. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side so that you can get the visual of the other side. Feel free to do that with me or pause, rewind, Here we go. Left foot print to left pinky finger. Know that the blocks can be underneath that foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, left shoulder scoops up underneath that left thigh bone. Once you have your positioning, make sure that your hands are a legit plank and not any of the cheaty business. All right, once you're here, curl the back toes, lift the back knee. From bent elbows, I'm gonna push past plank, and we're gonna call this plank plus, this big old domed cat back, which releases the foot. Now my heel scoops to my belly button. I lean forward, look forward, elbows bend, and then maybe eventually that back leg will lift. Maybe it doesn't. No worries. Nobody loses points in heaven for not completing the peak pose, okay? So again, beauty of online classes. Hit the rewind button. Try it as multiple times as you'd like. Do be aware that when the shoulders and wrists say they're done, just be respectful of that and then be done. You can always try it again another day, right? Give yourself a little bit of yoga recess, a little playtime with that, and then I'm going to meet you ready for that my fast release to cool down. I'm going to grab my ball. I'm going to lay on my back, long legs all the way down. And then I'm going to bend up my right knee, and I want a gentle bend of the knee, not a tight bend of the knee. I'm going to take the right ball underneath the right sitting bone. I want to perch it right up on top. All right, I want to make sure that everything's very, very soft and relaxed, and then just slowly start to drop the knee to the side. And then you're going to start to feel a bit of a deep tissue massage quality. If you're like, man, I feel a little bit, not a lot, then I'll bring the knee up. I'll move the ball further out away. And then I'm going to slowly, again, not force the knee out, but just melt the muscles enough that it just naturally goes to the side. Okay? So I've got a minute or so here. You're just trying to find the spot that kind of feels way more interesting than the surrounding tissue. If you're not feeling it, it probably means you haven't found your spot yet, because it's pretty obvious when you find something that really talks to you. When you have that spot, you're just going to melt. Now, for some of us, if that spot is really intense, it's really helpful to have that block as a kickstand. So now I'm not holding my leg in place and spending energy. I'm just letting everything completely relax, which will soften the tissue and allow the tennis ball to be soaked up into the muscles. A lot of times when the body feels pressures, it kind of tenses up, and it'll actually push the tennis ball out of the muscles. It's what we want to avoid. So keep taking your big, long cycles of breath, just like you have been all class. It'll help the brain and body relax and recognize that this is therapeutic pressure. It's all helpful. All right, bring that right knee up. Go ahead and retrieve the tennis ball. Lengthen out the legs. You might feel a difference between the sides. I always kind of feel like I have a flat tire on that side that I just relaxed. And then we'll gently bend up the left knee. Ball is underneath the left sitting bone, kind of perched right on top of it. And that's just a starting position, so don't get too wrapped up in if it's in the right location or not. As you melt the muscle, as you drop the knee, and as you maybe use that block, you're going to immediately figure out where that ball needs to be. Right now, I'm feeling maybe a 2 out of 10 on my sensitivity scale. I want to go for more of a 6 or 7. So I'm going to move the ball out. I've done this enough times to know that my spot is on the very edge on the outer hip, so I can get there pretty quickly. But definitely take your time feeling out those areas. Once you get a 5, you're like, okay, that's pretty good. We'll relax into it. Use your breath. Feel free to close down the eyes. Use that block to help support. If you're using the block, sometimes rather than moving the ball to find more of a sensation, after you melt and relax and release, you might just scoot that block out a little bit, which will drop the thigh bone more, and it's going to bring you right back up to those higher numbers. So don't feel it necessary to always move the tennis ball. Sometimes it's just a matter of maybe moving the block, relaxing a little bit more, creating a little more heaviness in that area. We got just a few more cycles of breath here. This is such an important muscle for hips and low back. I know when I hurt my low back, this was such a lifesaver. It influenced my low back area so much, specifically my SI joint. It was fantastic. All right, we're going to bring that knee up, retrieve the ball, block, get that stuff out of your way. We're going to lengthen out the legs. Again, maybe noticing the differences, hopefully a little more symmetrical now. And then a full body stretch, take a big breath, and we are going to land in Shavasana. So if you need to turn out the lights, if you need to change the music, if you need to grab some more supplies, hit the pause button. I'll meet you right back here. Organize your space, then organize your body. Close down the eyes. This time here is so easy to skip when you're doing online classes, but it is one of the most crucial times that we have. We're teaching the nervous system to downregulate. We're teaching the body from going full activity mode to stillness, which is the most important skill as a human being throughout our day. We don't want to live our life in overdrive. It can just be so very tiring and wearisome on the body. So take this time for you. You deserve it. Just a few moments here. Close down the eyes. Tap into your breath. The breath dictates how your body responds. So let's make sure that our breath is sending signals of wellness, that you're grounded, that you're safe, that you are ready to be still. Once you're for sure you have those nice big cycles of breath, let's send those exhales down the body like little sonar waves. Just checking out what's going on and seeing if you can do anything to positively influence it. Does the back of the neck need to get longer? Do the shoulders need to get a little heavier? Maybe you have the ability to soften through the hips and legs. Each cycle of breath is an opportunity to work towards that very best version of you, inside and out. So take a few cycles of breath here, knowing that your breath is sending positive signals, that your brain is on board with you being still now that it's taken inventory of the body, head to toe. Keep your attention on your breath, maybe counting how long the inhales and exhales are, or maybe just continuing to recognize that your exhales are this really powerful technique that help to breathe away distractions or tension in the body. Spend just a few more moments here. And keeping your eyes closed, take one more cycle of breath down the body, this time with the intention of picking up anything that feels different from the beginning of class. Something that feels more at ease and less effort, something that feels better, unique. And then once you've given the brain that positive feedback, begin to slowly wiggle fingers and toes to bring a little energy back into the body. We'll need just enough gathered up to create a full body stretch. In this full body stretch, you might again notice things that feel different, maybe the shoulders or the hips. Just recognize the work that you put in both inside and out. Gently gather the knees into the chest, give yourself a big squeeze here, maybe massage the low back if needed. And then taking as much time as you need, we will meet on the right side using the right arm as a pillow. This is our reset button, that all-important time that we have to recognize that we step off the mat a different and better version than when we stepped on. So take a big inhale here, gather up what you need to accomplish that goal, and exhale anything you wish to leave behind that might get in the way of that positive purpose. When you feel ready, we're going to slowly rise up to a seated position, sitting up nice and tall in the spine, hands at heart center, relaxing the chin down towards the chest. Thank you so very much for dedicating a bit of your day to stepping onto your mat, to working on movement and stillness, mindfulness and breath work, and also recognizing just how much this time benefits the other time off your mat throughout your day and night. It was my honor to lead you through class. Namaste.